The IBM CIO Digital Enablement and Effectiveness Group presents the WebSphere Content Management and Portal Training Series.
Hello and welcome to the WCM video tutorial on Configuring Translation Management Services, or TMS. In this video, you will learn how to configure TMS to receive translated content from the translation providers using feed configurations and feed jobs. TMS stands for Translation Management Services. It's a human translation service that can be used by adopters whenever a different language is required. Adopters make use of WCM multilingual capabilities to create copies of the content items in other language libraries. Then, they submit those items to the TMS queue and the service automatically transmits the content to the translation provider system. Once a translator completes the translation, TMS retrieves the translated item from the provider and puts it in the right place in WCM. In this tutorial, we are going to show you how to configure the service to receive the translated content back from the translation provider and upload it to WCM. WCM communicates with the translation provider through a feed. A feed is a data format used for providing users with frequently updated content. Content distributors syndicate a web feed, thereby allowing users to subscribe to it. In the TMS case, the translation provider will syndicate a feed with the content that's ready for pickup. WCM subscribes to the feed, fetching the content. This is done by using feed configurations and feed jobs. Let's take a look at how they are configured. After you log on to the portal, go to Portal Administration by clicking on the Administration label. On the left menu, scroll down to the Portal Content section and click on Feed Configurations. Find the TMS feed that was provided to you. In our case, we're going to examine Test TMS WS Polar SBox Adopter 1. Click on it. Here you can configure the feed. The name and the feed URL fields are mandatory. The feed URL is the web address of the content. It is a web service that provides the content in a markup that TMS understands. Usually these feeds are secured and the consumer needs to authenticate to get access to the content. In the credential slot for feed field, you can select the credential slot that this feed will use. A credential slot is an encrypted username-password pair that resides in WebSphere portal. This way, no passwords need to be stored in the code or are sent wide open in HTTP requests. The fields Web Content Library and Credential Slot for Library are mandatory. In Web Content Library, you can select which library is going to receive the content from the feed. If this library is secured, you can use the Credential Slot for Library field to select another credential slot to get access to it. You can use the same credential slot in both feed and library, if your credential is valid for both systems. The rest of the fields are not relevant for this discussion. If you made any changes and want to keep them, click Save. If not, click Cancel. On the left menu, still under the Portal Content section, click on Feed Jobs. Feed jobs are the scheduled actions that consume the feeds for new content. In the feed job, you define how often the feeds will be consumed. For each feed job, you can select a number of feeds. Just like the feed configuration, most likely you will find a feed job related to your feed configuration already created. Let's examine the feed job document. Click on the feed job name. In our case, it's TMS scheduled for Adopter 2. The job name field is mandatory, as well as the Run Every field, which determines how often the job will run. Each job can consume a number of different feeds. They can be selected in the Feed List drop-down field. This feed job had a feed already selected. You can remove it or select another one. Click on the triangle next to Choose a Feed to open the list of available feeds. If you have changed the feed job document, click on Save. If not, click on Cancel. In the list of feed jobs, you can see its name, the date and time it last run, the date and time it will run next, and its status. In this video, you learn how the translated content is fetched from the translation provider and loaded into WCM. You also learn how to configure the feeds and the feed jobs. This concludes the demonstration on configuring TMS. Thanks for watching and have a great day in WCM.